I'd love to talk to you a bit about wholesaling and go down that for a minute. I believe that a lot of people watching and listening would be highly interested just to hear how you did something, in my opinion, very spectacular. You probably have no idea, but how many roughly wholesale deals do you think you've done in your lifetime? If you just had to ballpark
Oh
it.
man, that's a great question. I roughly.
Yeah, just roughly. I know you're a humble guy, but I mean, I feel like I could take a stab at it.
Let's have you take a stab.
I would be very surprised if you've done less than 20,000.
Yeah, I mean, collectively, probably through foreclosure sales and wholesales, I think you're probably there.
Right there.
I've never counted or
Sure.
brought the line down the spreadsheet, but if I'm just adding up buying, 10 to 20 for a 2-year period of foreclosures, and just roll it in, and so my business model is unique, and it stems off of what I was doing at the courthouse and a foreclosure market that was hot, buying a lot of properties that became normalized and that has been normalized for several years. I was able to build a decent, I would say, buyer's list that wanted inventory of foreclosures. And then when foreclosures were normalized, and there wasn't enough. And so that's how I just molded into doing wholesales because there's just not enough foreclosures for us to buy, to feed,
But you did wholesaling totally different than I've ever seen before. And I think you're known for that. And I think it's a very respectable thing that you've done, right? You've basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've created this almost platform where I would argue that maybe that's what, at least from the outside looking in, it seems to be, where you will take any wholesale, maybe any is a strong word, but you'll take other wholesalers' deals or just and I'm sure deals of your own too, and things of that nature, and you will sell them. You'll connect the dots to a buyer for a flat fee.
Right.
And there's zero greed or ego there. I mean, where you see a lot of other wholesalers trying to make 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or $50,000, and there's no meat on the bone. Where you don't, the other guy could be making 80 grand, and the amount of money you make is still the exact same.
Yeah, that just stemmed off of charging a flat $1,500 at the foreclosure, and it worked in volume. And then if I felt like, hey, I can do this in a wholesale volume, that it's gonna work. And so that's been the model.
Have you ever thought about changing that model over the years?
You know what? If things are working, I'm just not going to change them. Yeah. And maybe I should, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe I could be in a different place today than I am, but I'm just going to be grateful for where I am and not really think about that. So right now it's working, and I'll probably just ride that out until I get too old enough to respond to text messages and emails instantaneously. So
yeah. You're very good at it. Like I was saying, I can't remember now if it was before the show or in the very beginning of the show, but we've done a lot of deals with you over the years, and it truly is incredible to see what you do. I mean, in full transparency, I mean, one of our standard operating procedures is when we get somebody sends us a deal, we look to see if you've blasted it.
Okay.
I mean, it's just I think other people do that too.
Right.
Because you're a huge name in the industry, and there's a lot of credibility behind your name, and I think it's very interesting how you built that. So, you built that as a result of doing the foreclosures and all of that, right? Like, was there anything different that you had to do, or was it just you built this incredible buyer's list, I guess, right? And you were able to figure that out, on the buyer side, which I think a lot of people struggle with. How did you get so big in the wholesaling world after the foreclosure world? Was it just natural evolution?
It was totally natural. It was totally natural. It was just basically looking at my business model of foreclosures and saying, I'm buying several of these a day, or helping investors buy several a day for a flat fee. And these are gone. Like, what am I going to do next? And luckily, that's when the wholesale market started to pick up. And that's what's great about real estate, is whether it's going down or up, you just got to be in a place to be making money and not go down with the down times, go up with that, right? And so it naturally just came. And I'm so sincerely thankful for all of the wholesalers like you guys, and for anyone that gives us deals, because I couldn't do it without you guys, obviously, this model. So I'm from the bottom of my heart, extremely thankful for any deals that I get sent to me, that I have an opportunity to just be a small part in. And it's not always perfect, but I do my best to make sure that it goes as smooth as possible. But it's real estate. So I'm just thankful. But it was pretty natural just getting into the wholesale.
Are there what is your parameter, out of curiosity? Like, I'd imagine you have a little bit more or like, you're maybe picking and choosing, like, because I almost said a little while ago that you would sell anybody's deal, and then I took my words back because I can't imagine that's true. So, like, are there deals or people or things that you won't do, and it's just not in your wheelhouse? You stay away from that, and what is that?
That's a great question. So I every once in a while am tempted to do deals out of state, and every once in a while there'll be someone here locally that I have a really good relationship with. They're like, hey, I picked this one up in Texas. Can you please send it out? So it's very rare. So I try to just stick to Arizona and not out of state, and that's our niche, is just Arizona. So I hope that answers your question a little bit.
Yeah, it really does. It explains to me that you've mastered a craft, and it goes back to like the person who tries to chase two rabbits and they catch neither, right? And it's that old saying, of like, do I go wide and shallow, or do I go narrow and deep, right? And I think there's a valid argument to be made that going deep, right, and really putting your roots deep into the ground and being phenomenal at a particular thing in life is arguably better than maybe being average at a bunch of different things.
Yeah, no, I like that, and I think that's definitely true for sure.
The Arizona market, at a very high level. I mean, you talked about the Arizona market a little while ago with total optimism and just how good of a market it is, and I see how it would be maybe difficult to, although maybe there's some confidence, you probably know the rest of the country, at a decent level, but maybe, obviously you couldn't know like a place like Texas or whatever as well as Arizona. So It would be your credibility on the line, I would imagine. It would also be you taking energy and time away from what you're really good at, and trying to do something that maybe you're not as good at.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's definitely in me, very much so.
Yeah. Do you ever, so like, talk to me about real estate a little bit, maybe on a broader scale. Obviously now we know that you are, a very big wholesaler, but you have a very specific lane that in which how you do that, right? Do you do your own deals too? Like, do you ever bring in your own deals, like direct to seller or what have you, or do you primarily just work with other wholesalers and connect them to the buyer?
That's a great question. So I do own 2 different real estate brokerages, and naturally have, I think, close to a couple hundred agents, and so every once in a while we'll be able to get our own deals through that way. So it's mostly, and thankfully from all the other wholesalers like you that go out and get the deal, and are really, really good at going in people's houses and getting a contract signed. So my relationship, and that is a majority of the deals, is that's not my forte of direct marketing per se. My forte is, as soon as you guys have worked your magic and have a signed contract, and you guys need an exit for that, I'm good at going and hopefully getting the exit.
Connecting the dots.
Yeah, exactly.
Bringing the buyer, yeah.
Right.
Do you do creative finance at all? Do you have buyers in that world, or not so much?
No, there's been more and more on the list lately, and I'm tempted not to even put it on the list, because actually I've never ever sold one but one in that many years. So my buyers list, I don't even know what creative financing is. So they probably do, but they just don't want to deal with it. So no, I have not got in that space. Do
you think that you'll ever get into that? You see different people that are really big into sub 2 or seller finance, or whatever else. There's a bunch of different things that I guess you can do. Is that something that you have any interest in, or is it something that you just prefer to stick with what you're good at?
I don't have too much interest in it. I mean, I hear a lot of really cool things and see a lot of really cool things online from several friends and that are doing it. I think it's really, really cool what they're doing. But I kind of just have my lane, and and stick to that. And like I said, if the wheel's not broken, I'm just going to keep in that lane.
I love that.
It sounds really cool, and I probably should know more about it, and I should spend more time doing it, but I'm just not there.